Alright, listeners, welcome once again to Fate's Rest. And again, we have a little bit of a different thing going on here. As with me, I only have Zug. Now, I don't know how much our Zug, Sig Trigger, Fritz, whoever's in charge right now, remembers as to what happened last time. Or at least last time they were in the episode. But please, can you tell us?
So I have a slight suspicion that I'm in danger. As for what we were doing beforehand, I was slowly dying of heat exhaustion, so I'm not 100% clear on what was happening.
I mean, that's pretty much what was happening in the episode. Just not that kind of heat.
Yes. The brothel nonsense. He didn't want to leave. Everybody said they should leave Fritz in charge. He's the younger, cooler, more of whatever, active, funnier. And Sig was like, "That is a terrible idea. You're talking about a young man who is like just coming into his prime, going into a brothel. That's not going to end well." So he definitely was like, "No, I got this." And then he was all the sights and scenes and everything else was really horrible situations for him because of his race and how they view their marriages and such. And since he doesn't currently know what is going on, or if he's met one of his daughters, but he doesn't know if his wife is still alive, and she could very easily whoop him if he gets in trouble. So,
oh jeez.
He's kind of like, let's not do this.
But yeah.
So it's very awkward, much awkward.
Well, you
much
made
awkwards?
it out of the never-ending loop of a brothel, back into the tavern. The gatekeeper gave you a little bit of a breather, and then immediately sent y'all back out to where y'all were supposed to be going.
Man, he doesn't waste any time on sending us out to nonsense all the time.
Well, if he could go out of the tavern himself and help, he would, but he can't, because he would have to fight Leviathan, and I don't think that would end well for either of them.
I also do kind of, it's just a funny little observation here for our ending cues are still in the notes. So it's like, yeah, we're going to hear from people who aren't here on what's going on. So that's fun.
And
Just, it's a fun observation there.
as you step through, you were the last one through the door. You'll be, and then Callie, and then of course, as always, you were the last one to follow. You walk through the door, and Sig is in charge. Thing is,
Correct.
you don't walk through when you walk through the door, you're not in the same place as the girls. It's as if that couple of seconds between Callie walking through and you stepping through, the scene changed. And you step into a room. And before you is a table laid out almost as if there's a map of a town on this table. There are 5 different sets of colored buildings on this map. All little pegs, like a little pegboard buildings. Each one sets of 11. Blue, red, yellow, green, and black, with a single purple building in the center. Something that you don't realize, or that you may be realizing now, and just so you know, give me what kind of check would this be? Give me a Constitution check.
Constitution
Yes.
check. I think we're going to see if my digital dice will be nice to me today, or if they're going to be as mean as they were the last time I used digital dice, and I will cry. That's a 16 for
16.
con save.
You, as Sig, do not feel Fritz's presence in your being.
Well, that's got to be weird. So wait. When he doesn't feel Fritz's presence, he's going to look down. Is he still an orc?
Well, I don't know. What does Sig Trigger's true appearance look like?
Okay, so Sig Trigger's in his real body before all the Shan hit the fans and
No, let's
Shans and
let's clarify
all that.
this. It is what he truly looks like, but it's like an intangible, tangible body, if that makes sense.
Doesn't make
So,
sense to my brain,
You're not.
but-
It's not a full physical copy of the body, but all the details are there. It's not something that looks like it could interact with many things.
So it's like when you see yourself in VR.
Yeah.
Okay. So he is actually taller than what he is in his orc form. So that'd be one weirdness to get over right out of the gate.
Vertigo.
Because not a whole lot of vertigo. I mean, there's so Fritz is 6 foot tall. Sig, when he was still in his original body, was 6. He was 6'6". So it's not a huge difference in height, but it is definitely a difference in height. Pale skinned. He's a very pale skinned man, and I think the first thing you'd also notice is rather than having just mutton chops, he has this nice big beard that he has not seen in, well, everybody knows the 2,000 years joke, so he has not seen this very long beards in a very, very long time. He probably spends a couple seconds just kind of confused, kind of looking down, kind of like, patting at his side and stuff, feeling all the different things, probably feels that where they're, where he had a wound from a previous battle to see if it's still there, like a sore scar area that you would feel through your clothes. But since he's not fully tangible, I don't think he would actually feel that. So he's just kind of lost in that, like, for a couple seconds, kind of lost in that sort of like what's going on, and everything's weird. That feeling when you feel like you woke up and you think you're still asleep, but you've actually woke up and you haven't quite realized it yet, like that sort of feeling.
Well, as you begin to look around and are like silently freaking out about your appearance, roll me an investigation. Perception. That makes more sense to what's going on. I don't know why I put that in my notes.
Sorry, I'm writing a little note here. Okay, you said a perception check. Well, that was almost the best roll on the face of the planet, being that was almost a natural 1, but it ended up being a 7 on the die, so it's
7.
a 9.
So as you're doing your silent freak out, trying to feel your body all over, you can't touch it. You're upset because you can't stroke your beard. Hand just passes through it.
I don't think the stroking the beard would be his biggest thing. It'd be the fact that he can't actually, check his braids, because that'd be the thing he'd know how where this is, like if it's like a memory from way back or wherever it's actually in the timeline, because he didn't start growing his braids until he got married.
Well, I'll tell you 2 things. With your 7, you will notice.
It's a 9.
Oh, it's a 9.
Not a 7.
With your 9, it's actually better. You will notice 2 things in this room. You will notice a mirror off to one side, and two chairs that have shadowy figures sitting in them.
I'm gonna have to ask you to hop out and come back because Discord made that very distorted. Curse you, internet! Curse you on high,
Yes.
internet! Why must you ruin
Internet
everything?
is not being happy today.
Okay, so I heard there's a mirror with shadowy figures sitting in chairs
Yep.
next to them.
Essentially, you are. You notice just out the corner of your eyes, you're like doing your silent freak out. The mirror slightly, and these two shadowy figures, which you can't really tell who they are.
So seeing people here, I mean, he's going to start kind of approaching. Not being quiet about it, but also not, if they're in conversation, not trying to interrupt their conversation.
They're not talking. As you approach them, a voice that you've probably never heard before. It's very, very stern and calculating sounding voice. And it says, "Please take a seat."
Sure, I can definitely do that. I'm kind of curious as to where here is.
You are in my home, so to speak. And this voice sounds like it's coming from the whole room, but when the voice appears, you can see one of the shadows shimmer and move slightly, so you can tell it's coming from one of the shadows.
So you would sit down in an open chair, just kind of unsure what's going on, but also figuring too that something is afoot at this situation. So, because the last time they were pulled off to the side like this, there was lessons that he didn't take. He didn't take the time to actually learn or listen to the lesson. So he's kind of like, maybe I should pay more attention this time.
This voice. The only other seat that's in the room is directly across from the other shadow that hasn't moved or said anything. And this voice says, "Do not worry." Though that may not be the correct phrasing, but you are here to help me give a test.
So here to help give a test. You know, I never was the best teacher, so this, you probably got the wrong man for this one, but I can definitely try.
What we are going to do is we're going to play a game. And this shadow, its motions move towards the table in front between the three chairs. And this is a game of defense, of strategy, and of war. You are to be the red pieces, which are the ones directly in front of you. Your job is to protect the purple building. You can move these buildings in any way you see fit, including the purple building. You must protect them. And all over this board, you see massive amounts of like empty peg holes where you can move the pieces to. And your opponent will be playing a color that you do not get to know yet. But first, you are allowed to strategize and move these pieces how you see fit. And essentially, when you look at the board, the red pieces are in like a little glob, almost like a triangle shape of 11, with the point, the very point of it touching the purple building in the middle of the map.
So I can move all of these here, and I don't know which is my opponent. Okay,
When you look at the map, directly across from the red pieces are the blue ones. To the left are the yellow pieces, and to the right are the green pieces. The black pieces are in the back, off to one side. They're the furthest away from the other colors. Each color of the main four has one building touching the purple building.
So, do I have allies on this board, or do I have just the one opponent?
As it sits right now, you have one opponent. If time drags on and your opponent cannot successfully take the piece from you, then a new enemy shall appear. And this enemy will be a danger to both you and your opponent.
Okay.
And when your opponent decides deciding is not the right word. When your opponent makes their first move, the two remaining colors will be unable to be moved. So, please begin.
So, what is... Well, you said the other two remaining colors will not move. So that, if I assume that means there's one other that is not active in this fight then?
The shadow motions toward the black pieces that are off by themselves. So this color here is not viable for this particular moment in the game.
Okay. So he can organize them anyway, including moving the purple building to start, correct?
Correct. And this is any piece on the board until the other player makes their first move. You can move any piece on the board except for the black piece. Is essentially what you were just told.
Okay. So he would move all of his pieces, basically make a funnel with his pieces, with the purple inside the middle of the funnel with one in front, so like a 5-5, and then the one in front of the purple.
So you've got like this, essentially like an A going on here.
No, more like a V, but having a like the purple is like a line below the V. So basically, in order to attack that purple, you have to come down the funnel of his pieces.
And that's all you're going to move?
Well, I mean, to move the enemies, I mean, probably set the enemies, like all the other colors, as far back as he can to start at, but he's not going to adjust them much because he doesn't know what his opponent's going to be, so he can't detect. He can't really tell that at this moment.
And after you have set this, heads or tails?
Let's go heads.
Where is that dice? Sorry, all right, so you've made your moves, and Sig Trigger waits for his opponent to make their move. You, as a player, have now gained control of Fritz. Fritz is looking around a room. He is sort of lost, and he does not feel Sig Trigger's presence. And he looks like his normal orc self. In front of him is this same table with the different board pieces and different layouts and different colors. And sitting next to him in a chair sits, perched on the arm of the chair, a rather large twilight eagle. Now Fritz would know this eagle as the bird his tribe worships, I think is the right word.
Not really worships.
Homage to, maybe?
More. It's more of like it's because it's this very magnificent hunter, so they view it as a very prestigious hunter. Worship is a very strong term, but they do make offerings to it in a way to ask for a better hunt.
Across from Fritz sits a shadowy figure in a chair. This bird speaks into Fritz's mind, and the voice sounds like it's coming from the whole room. And the stern, calculating voice. It says, "Hello, one from the mountain tribe. I have been watching the world's events unfold from up high in my mountains. You, unlike the rest of your tribe, seem to be trying to fix what is going on. The others are more than content to continue hunting and frolicking, I guess would be the word. They are all very, very annoying and frustrating up there. A true hunter doesn't need offerings. I will hunt my own food, damn it."
Well, I was not always like this. I did have a good... Well, good isn't always the best word for it, but I did have a teacher who taught me. And I do not wish to be a member of the old tribe even before I was pulled away from the mountain, so I can understand your feeling there.
So, I ask you, I have asked someone We both know to help me with this. You are going to take my test. I have been told by the other spirits what you are doing. And you are the one I want to test. Before you lies a game of war. Your opponent has already been assigned their pieces, and they have begun their defense. Your job is to take your pieces and capture the purple building. You shall be the blue pieces. You have 11 pieces and 11 turns to take your pieces, one, it only needs to be one, and capture by jumping over the purple piece. If you have not done this by the end of turn 11, a new opposing force will come, and both you and your opponent will now be in danger. When you move your first piece, the other colors on the board cannot be moved. Other two colors on the board, excuse me. And until your 11th turn is up, no other pieces shall be moved. And Fritz will see the red pieces and the purple piece move around a bit. And of course they make this V formation with the purple piece at the back. Then all three of the other pieces move as close to him as possible. And he tells you, your pieces, once again, are blue. You have 11 turns. You may begin.
Figuring the best move. So he's going to kind of think for a little bit, kind of looking at the pieces. And I think he's going to make his first move would be to move a piece towards the center of the piece that's as close to the center of the funnel as possible, towards the center of the funnel to see the response.
To see the response?
Yep.
As close to the center of the funnel as possible. That puts you in a position to where think of this game like Chinese checkers, where you have to jump over a piece to take it. Mm-hmm. Where at in this funnel would that be? Would he be in a position where he can be jumped over, or he can't be jumped over?
Would not be in a position to be jumped over right away. It's more of just a probe to see what the response would be.
Nothing moves on the other side, and the eagle stares at you. You have 10 more turns to make. Your opponent cannot move their pieces until your turn is over.
Okay, so we have to move everything. So he's gonna kind of think how to move all these pieces into this area without exposing too much of a risk.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he's going up against Sig.
He does not know he's going against Sig.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Sig does not know he's going against Fritz.
Okay. I figured Sig didn't know, but I wasn't sure if Fritz did. Because that would have dictated how he would have made this move. So I think Fritz would move in a way to keep everything from being able to be jumped over right away by his opponent. So basically he's not doing like the inverse of the funnel, but he's going to keep pieces kind of around the funnel.
Okay, so when you get it, when your move goes to go again, you can jump them as many as possible. All right, so I'll say you make your first 10 moves. You've placed your pieces. And you're about to move your last one. And this eagle jumps from the chair he is perched on to the far side of the table where the black buildings are. Now place your final building.
So he's going to do so.
The eagle says that is 11 turns. You have made your first round of turns, and that 11 turn is now done. You're now racing against the clock to take the purple building. And this eagle, with its talons very carefully, picks up one of these black buildings and sets it dead center of the map. Completely as far into the map as it possibly can. And it watches. It is now your turn. And when he says this, you are in control of Sigtrigger again. Sigtrigger does not know this is an eagle. He thinks it's just a shadow. And this voice just told him it is now his turn. He sees where all of the pieces have now been moved.
Okay, so he sees that the blue has come to kind of cover up the edge of the funnel. And then the one black piece has moved in. Is that behind the blue opponent, or
it would be in the exact center of the map where the purple piece originally started.
Okay. So I think so he knows. I think he would know that this is a probe from the enemy, so he's going to fold that funnel in. As he's going to play defense.
Play defense. Okay.
So he's going to make it where you can't jump over things to get towards that purple, but fully block that purple in the back.
And as you take your hands away from making your moves, another black piece comes out and sets directly behind, at the as far away from that purple as it can be, but directly behind all of your units on the board. And then this eagle turns to Fritz. It is now your turn.
So I think Fritz will see the funnel collapse in, and it sounds like the black pieces are now on both sides.
There's a black piece in the dead center of the map where the purple building started, and then there is a black piece as far behind the enemy lines as it could possibly get, almost at the edge of the board.
So I think Fritz will make his moves trying to think how you make his moves for this. Because he has one opponent in front of him that's closed in. And he's got an opponent behind him.
And I think this eagle, you hear a slight chuckle from him as Fritz struggles to think of a move. And he says, "There is more than one way to win a war game. From above, below, always think outside the box."
So I think as he's told to think outside the box, he's going to smirk. So you're saying any move I can make.
Any move to any open peg.
There would be no open pegs around the purple building because that was the close-in action.
Mm-hmm. I mean, completely around the purple building, or is it still protected by like a line?
It'd be so. Sig would have closed in around it. So Sig would have folded that funnel in around the purple building.
It's pretty smart.
Making it so there's no gap, so if you were to attack, he'd be able to lash out at you.
Roll me a... What would this be? Roll me an insight. This is Fritz.
Okay, Fritz's insight. Insight. That's a 9.
It's a 9. God, I forgot he's not the smartest character.
No, he is not very smart.
So, I think thinking literally, when Fritz hears above and below, all that has to be done is a piece has to pass over the purple piece.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say where it has to pass over, but it just does.
I mean, you also said the way this board is laid out is kind of like Chinese checkers. So there would not be a tile.
I said it's set up like Chinese checkers. I didn't say it was played like Chinese checkers.
Well, no, I get that, but you're saying the way it's set up. So I think he would. This seems like something he would do as well. So he would just smirk, pick the piece up, move it across everything in that purple, and then back around to an open peg.
And after you do this, the purple piece moves from in the circle to a field off to the side. And the eagle laughs. And then looks, and this ghostly figure, or this shadowy figure, looks to Sig Trigger, and he sees this very bright, lit up grin come across this shadowy figure's face. You have lost.
It's only a loss if you're expecting me to defend the impossible. I was searching to extend it out as long as possible.
That is very smart and very wise. But I think I should tell both of you this. And the Sigfrigger will see this shadowy figure snap, but Fritz will see this eagle open up its wings, and these like little spots of starlight come out and dispels all the shadows. And Fritz looks over at what was once the shadow in front of him, and he sees this visage of Sigtrigger. And because he knows what Sigtrigger, his presence feels like, he knows that this is Sigtrigger. And vice versa for Sig, he knows this is Fritz across from him.
Sig, upon seeing this, would start laughing. Because that is the exact kind of thing that the orc he has begun calling sticky fingers with.
And this eagle says, war is not always about what both sides are able to do. It's about, or what both sides think they should do. It's about doing what you're able to do. And what is an eagle good at? It's good at flying in and taking from above. And that is how you have passed this test. I was talking to Fritz. And Sigtrigger's visage like fades a little bit.
I think Fritz would kind of grin at that comment and say, well, not only is an eagle good at hunting in that fashion, but I have always thought that it is smarter to do the unexpected than to do what they always expect.
Perhaps if the whole world thought like that, it would be a better place. And you look across, and Sigtrigger's visage begins to fade, and you start to see the pendant that Fritz always wore around his neck begin to absorb this visage and slowly start to fall into the chair. And so now, the two of you, you can still hear. You should still be able to hear me, man from the past. The two of you must make a decision. Fritz, you have the opportunity to live free of this one called Sigtrigger and live happily for whatever remains of your life. Or you can accept my contract, take my contract, and you and Sigtrigger will once again be a team.
So my only concern, if I do not bring him with me as I have, he will be lost. Is that correct?
He will remain independent. Probably in the gatekeeper's tavern for the rest of eternity.
I can't leave him to that fate. He helped me through my much darker thoughts and from my path, and I want to hopefully return the favor to him at some point. But your message, your meaning of a contract, definitely does not sound fully on par with the one who is a valiant hunter.
Oh, my contract is different than those of my brethren. You will get my mark, but I will not come with you. When you need me, focus your magic or say my name into the mark, and I will come. I will not stay with you at all times, and I do prefer my freedom over everything. A world without freedom is not a world I like.
Well, I can definitely agree with that one. That is why I cannot leave. I cannot leave Sig to be imprisoned forever in that fool's tavern.
Yes, Father is quite the fool, isn't he? Always claiming to know more than what he lets on.
Plus, I do want to know if any more of Sig's family remains, and if he is stuck there, I don't think he will get a chance to find out.
That is very fair. Very well. And this eagle comes over, hops along the table, and puts out a talon, as if to shake hands in mutual respect.
And Fritz would hold out his hand for the shake.
And as you shake hands, the mark of the eagle appears on your arm, your forearm. The contract, and as the eagle fades away, the contract has been fulfilled. Oh, before you leave, please reset the boards. The town outside will probably love to have their buildings back in order.
Yeah, well, that doesn't make sure to do that.
The eagle fades, and you now have a chance to go pick Sig Trigger's pendant up and put it on.
Yeah, we'll do so, and I'll do that, and then I'll start putting the buildings back together.
And that is where we will stop.
Who knew that Fritz likes this rather hard individual as much as he does?
I'm eager to see what Sig's reaction to all this, because he got to witness all of this conversation. He didn't get to say anything because he was independent.
I mean, I can give Sig's reaction, which would be pretty...
We will do that next time. Let's keep that a secret until next time.
Okay.
I think before we truly end, as you begin to put the pieces back, and you and Sig Trigger are probably talking, there is a knock at the door, and it is Yulby and Callie's voices. And that is where the episode actually ends.
I'm in less danger than I thought.
Oh, if the insight, because of how not intelligent Fritz is, that insight roll, the DC was only like 5. Because that's why I said, I forgot how not intelligent he is.
So, actually, it's kind of funny because if that didn't work, Fritz's backup plan was to start capturing the black buildings.
That probably would have worked.
Start taking them out.
All right. And let's do our little modified outro. So we are not going to do the full outro today, listeners. We were just going to skip straight to the topic of the week. And of this week It is choices. I want to hear, or we want to hear, about the choices that are put into your games by DMs or by players that are hard choices to make.
Like, do you accept this presence that originally kidnapped you from your home mountain, drove you down into the lowlands, made you go on this merry jaunt through the wilderness, to eventually turn around and say, yes, I will keep going with this person?
Exactly. Those choices are always fun to talk about because sometimes they upset the players because they had to make the choice, and sometimes they're just significant and make the stories better. But I digress. And as always, we love you. Bye.